Do you feel superhuman? That's the question. I'm in the studio today with my co-pilot, Sydney Lenore. How you doing, Sid?
Good.
Okay. Sid, we got a really great show today. I think you're going to like it a lot.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We're going to be talking to a doctor today named Dr. Aajonus Vonderplanitz, and he is a native nutrition specialist. And he is a big proponent of what's known as raw food eating, and everything that he eats is raw. And we're going to be talking about the value of protein and perhaps some misconceptions about protein as well. Protein plays a large role in our current nutritional protocols. I don't care if you're on the Atkins diet, the South Beach diet, or if you're sports-specific, following sports-specific nutrition for bodybuilding or powerlifting. You probably eat a lot of protein. That's the way it is today. Protein is very, very important. We've learned that it helps you burn fat and build muscle. In light of a recently published book, the China study, which attempts to link protein intake and protein consumption with certain types of cancers, in concert with the government's recommended food pyramid, which almost ignores protein, putting it at the top in the area of what is considered, the smallest amount required each day. There's a lot of conflict and contradiction about protein's importance as a macronutrient. High-protein diets have the ability to alter the body's pH. They have the ability to increase growth factors like IGF-1. They also have the ability to shift your body's utilization of fat as a primary source of energy. So protein is important. There's no doubt about it. But are all proteins created equal? And was the human body designed to digest and process animal protein? There's a lot of controversy about that. There's people out there that are vegans and vegetarians who believe that animal protein is just bad for you, both physically and karmically. Are high-protein diets healthy? We're going to ask these questions to someone who is a native nutrition expert and author of a book called We Want to Live, The Primal Diet, Dr. Aajonus Vonderplanitz. And I want to thank him for being here today with us, Dr. Vonderplanitz. Thank you very much, because I know that you're in D.C. rallying for raw milk, correct?
Yes, thank you, Carl. Nice to be here.
Thank you. And we're big proponents of raw milk. We've actually done shows on raw milk. We've created co-ops here in Louisville where people can obtain raw milk. So we're with you on this. Thank you very much for going to Washington. Is any of the stuff that you're doing going to be televised on C-SPAN before we get into the interview?
Not that I know.
Oh, too bad. Okay. All right. Well, anyway.
We really don't want that subject out there.
Yeah, I know. People don't realize how big. Everybody puts the word "big" in front of certain entities. Big milk. People don't realize how important big milk is. Big milk is probably as powerful as big petroleum.
There's 17% of the food income.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yep.
That's huge. So they don't want to let that revenue go back to the small family farm if they can help it.
Absolutely not. And they want long shelf life.
Yeah, which is important, even though it destroys the body when you consume it.
Yeah, but they're denying that it does.
Yeah. And we'll talk more about milk, because we're going to be talking about protein today, and I'm going to be asking you some questions that I think that some of my listeners who've heard the show before won't be surprised, but some people will be surprised about some of your answers. First of all, the most obvious question to ask someone like you is, when did man start cooking protein in the first place?
Oh, I would say probably when there was some kind of a forest fire and lightning hit, and some burned meat was all they had, and they found that it
tasted different. Yeah, and it tasted different, and so it was a variation.
Most
maybe
animals don't like, who've been out in the wild. They are very suspicious of cooked meat.
Interesting.
Coyotes, I noticed that the wild coyotes around the mountains where I live in Malibu, I feed them only raw meat, and usually high fermented and stinky meats, which they love the most.
Interesting.
And some neighbors threw them some cooked meat, and they were very suspicious of it before they ate it.
Yeah, that's really interesting because there's been studies done on with cats. I know a long time ago that I read and saw plates of the dissected cats that were fed raw meat and raw milk versus cooked meat and pasteurized milk, and the quality and texture of the muscle, the color of the flesh, and the fat deposit, and also the changes in the organs themselves. I mean, the cats that were fed raw meats and raw milk were just so much healthier.
Yes, so much healthier. That was Dr. Francis Pottinger's work.
That's it. I didn't want to quote it. I thought it was Dr. Pottinger, but I just wasn't sure if that's right.
He studied 900 cats over a 10-year period. And all of the cats that ate raw had no diseases and lived in, cages with multiple cats. And the worse the diet got, he fed one group powdered condensed milk, and those were the worst. They had the worst diseases, and they couldn't keep one cat in a cage at a time. They'd kill each other.
Yeah, and that was introduced when I was a kid as an alternative to regular milk. That was during the Tang space age thing. Powdered milk, carnation powdered milk. It's easier to keep. It stays longer and tasted disgusting. Yeah. I think my mother bought it once, and that was it. But cooking protein denatures it, correct?
Oh, correct. Yes.
Okay, so but yet and then we're going to go into a break here in a little bit, the first break, and when we come out, I want to really get deep into this. But the reality is that the human animal, we animals, we come from prehistoric man who ate raw meat, and obviously he survived long enough to mutate into what we are today.
Yes.
So the question becomes, what is the aversion to eating raw meats?
Well, most people have an aversion to it because they're told that they'll get parasites, brain flukes, that'll eat up their brain and they'll be idiots.
Right.
And that for me wasn't a problem because I was autistic as a child, so I was an idiot all the time. So.
I was just going to say, I must have had some brain flukes as a kid because my mother called me an idiot all the time.
Right.
Listen, we're going to go into a break. When we come back, I want to get deep into this. I want to promise everybody who's listening to keep listening because some of the things that you're going to hear today are going to challenge what you've been told about how to eat. Then everything you think. Stay with us. You're listening to Superhuman Radio. A company committed to truth in advertising, to science-driven product development, a company that still believes in accountability to its customers. All-American EFX is that company. With a full line of performance-enhancing aids like Pre-Alkaline EFX Pro, muscle pump amplifiers like Nitric EFX, growth and recovery enhancers like LBA Pro and LG5 Pro, and a fully tested core nutrition series. So if you want the very best in bodybuilding and performance supplements, go to any GNC or visit AAEFX.com today. That's AAEFX.com. All-American EFX. We don't play games, we just help you win them. Hi, this is Carl. Protein builds muscle and most protein powders taste like chalk. American Whey is the best protein powder I've ever tasted. It's lactose-free, fat-free, and dissolves completely. And the flavors are amazing. Double chocolate, creamy vanilla, wild berry, orange cream, peach cobbler, and my favorite, tropical banana blast. It even comes in convenient 10 and 25-pound tubs. Give American Whey a try. You'll love it. Go to AmericanWhey.com. That's American, WHEY.com, or call 888-462-5671. There are a few products that I believe in the way I believe in Can-C eye drops. I've been using Can-C for 6 months now, and the changes in my vision are nothing short of amazing. My near vision has improved, and I can read small print from 8 inches. My overall vision is clearer, and the glare from oncoming headlights doesn't bother me any longer. Just 1 to 2 drops a day, and the results are visible. You can find Can-C eye drops at wisechoicemedicine.net or call 800-861-4936. That's 800-861-4936. wisechoicemedicine.net. Can-C eye drops. The name says it all.
Performance athletes all over the world are talking again about creatine.
The negative side effects of creatine are history, thanks to concrete. No more bloating or cramping. No more loading or high insulin spiking. After 4 years of research, Promera announces not just a new and more effective creatine, Promera announces a whole new molecule. The concrete molecule is at the base of a new highly concentrated creatine that enters muscles faster, more efficiently, and with no side effects. Concrete also allows for microdosing of just a quarter teaspoon for every 100 pounds. Concrete fits your life and still fits into your gym bag.
You're going to see increases in strength as a result of this new science.
Concrete is pH-aligned rocket fuel for your body. More muscle brings more speed, more strength, and more mass. The drought on creatine is over thanks to Concrete. Buy yours today at GNC or online at con-crete.com and let the games begin.
Over-the-counter non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs carry a lot of systemic risks, but possibly the most annoying is that using them after a hard workout may actually inhibit muscle growth. But sometimes you just need some relief. That's why I use Ibunex. Ibunex is a topically applied ibuprofen formula that also includes glucosamine and chondroitin. Ibunex will not circulate throughout the entire body. It goes to work right where you rub it, and it works immediately. You can get a free sample of Ibunex by going to superhumanradio.com and clicking on the Ibunex banner. And this is really a free sample. You don't have to pay for shipping or handling. Get some Ibunex today. It's free, it works fast, and it won't stall your muscle growth.
Listen strong. It's Superhuman Radio.
Funky music. Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. We're talking today with Dr. Aajonus Vonderplanitz, expert native nutritionist. Okay, so we're told that if we eat raw meat, we're going to get sick from it.
Correct.
But clearly, for thousands of years, men ate raw meat, and they didn't necessarily get sick from it.
Well, we're still eating it. You know, there's steak tartare, there's carpaccio, there's sashimi, sushi, kibbeh.
Now, I did it as a kid. Whenever my mother made meatballs, she would take a big bowl and put chopped meat in it, raw eggs, breadcrumbs, seasoning, and then she would knead it together with her hands, and then she'd form them into these little balls and fry them in the frying pan. And while that process was occurring, I would regularly stick my fingers into it and grab a lump of it and eat it as a kid.
Uh-huh.
My father did it. My sister did it. We all did it. It was common, and it wasn't anything that we thought any different of. It's only recently that we think now, oh, my goodness, mad cow disease and all these other things that we have to worry about.
The media, just the parrots, the media is owned now by the big conglomerates.
Right.
So everything that's in their favor and everything's about long shelf life, and they'll blame everything on bacteria that cooking destroys. Of course, that destroys the food, but they deny that.
Well, the truth is also, if you're worried about mad cow disease, the prions are not destroyed by heat.
Correct.
So cooking it is of no benefit at all. But that's a whole nother show, because I've read some studies that show that mad cow disease may have more to do with what they inoculate cows with than the actual prions in the cows.
And they do deworm them with this heavy mercury-laden chemical, and they just pour it along the spine of the cow.
Interesting, and that's where the highest concentration of prions are found.
Exactly.
Okay, that's another show. We can do that show sometime. All right, so let's talk about the protein. So now let's say I wanted to start looking at eating raw protein, because I read your story, and it clearly you made progress in health when you went to raw food eating, but it wasn't until you incorporated raw protein into your diet that you really saw a major change in your health.
Well, I was eating raw proteins. I was eating nuts. I was eating some raw dairy, in fact, a lot of raw dairy. And that claimed to have a lot of protein in it. However, I was never able to gain weight, never able to get good enough strength, and I was going into cancer of the blood again, multiple myeloma, blood and bone, and I had that as a 21-year-old, and I was supposed to die at 21. That's what got me into researching and studying diets, when one of the volunteers at the hospice as I was preparing to die talked me into starting to drink carrot juice and then raw milk. So that revived me. But still, then I went into a vegetarian, fruitarian, vegetarian stage, and that tore me down completely. And the nuts and the dairy didn't do it for me.
So it was raw animal protein that was kind of the turning point for you, right?
Then I started eating raw meat.
Raw meats, right.
But I initially, I ate the raw meat to kill myself.
Right, I read that story. Actually, that story sounds like it could be in a Carlos Castaneda book.
Right.
I mean, you actually had gone to die.
Yes.
You were fasting yourself to death.
Correct.
You had gone into the desert. This is, I'm correct me, obviously. You had gone into the desert to die, and a group of coyotes had dropped a freshly killed rabbit next to you.
Correct.
And you,
no, on my feet.
On your feet, okay. And you decided, well, if I eat that, I'm going to die faster. Instead of having to wait 60 days in excruciating pain, I'll just eat that and I'll go back to where I'm sleeping and I'll die.
Correct.
And you ate it, and the next day you actually felt better than you had felt in years.
Within half an hour of eating it, I felt like a different person. I knew I was dying because I felt so good.
Interesting.
And then I woke up and I was still there in the desert, so I didn't go off to anywhere.
Now, I'd have to imagine that the rabbit meat is very sweet. Is it?
Well, this was jackrabbit.
Oh,
probably
okay.
only a year old, and it was quite sweet. But, jackrabbits, they live on a lot of heavy herbs, so it's a very strong meat.
Right.
It's not like your domesticated animals.
I gotcha. So that was your journey into, well, maybe raw meat can help me.
Yes, well, that was saying, wow, it made me feel good, and I went for 3 days fasting and eating nothing else, drinking water, and still feeling good. So I said, well, I had traveled for almost 3 years at that point on a bicycle all over the North American continent. I lived with Indian tribes in the Yucatan and northern Mexico, the Yaqui, and the Sioux in the Dakotas, and then in Alaska, the Inuit. And all of them told me I needed to eat raw meat.
So the Native American Indians continue to eat raw meat today?
Not many of them, but yes, some of them do.
Because most of them have been, they've been Americanized, I would imagine.
Ostracized for eating raw meat, called savages.
Yeah, right. So, okay, so now let's say I want to venture into this. I already eat sushi, so I can get sushi-grade salmon and tuna and all that sort of good stuff, and I have no problem eating that. But making the transition to raw beef, obviously, must take some proper planning. I mean, you just can't go.
Well, for you, that's obviously not. You did it as a child.
No, and I agree. But am I able to go into my local grocery store and pick a piece of lean, like flank steak off the shelf, grind it up into a tartare and add some seasoning, and then start eating it right there? Or do I have to get meat right from the source where it was recently processed? I mean, is there any handling?
Well, your food is always, depends upon the quality of the food. Always depends upon the animal. Health of the animal. So if you're going for a grass-fed animal who's had no antibiotics and now no hormones, you're going to have a better quality and healthier meat to eat, and it's going to make you thrive better. But there was times when I was living in Paris from 93, 96, 3 months out of the year, I ate mad cow. I didn't know it. That's what I was eating, but I was eating at a Carrefour supermarkets because I couldn't find a good, clean butcher, in Paris. In fact, all the butcher markets are obsolete in Paris.
Yeah, most of that stuff is flash frozen, I've read, in Paris. Everything is.
Yeah, but outside in the villages and all around the rest of France, you can find all kinds of, little local market butchers where you can get good meat that, the meat's locally grown and almost all grazed. However, I did eat that, I did eat for a month at a time, 3 times a year for 3 years, almost 3.5 years, the mad cow, and didn't produce a problem in me, and it made me feel good and better. Of course, it didn't give me the strength and vitality that the good, cleaner grass-fed does.
So it sounds like if I want to start incorporating raw beef into my diet, I probably need to find myself a local butcher where he can guarantee me that he's getting me grass-fed, organic, hormone-free.
That's preferable, but it's better to have, whatever good raw meat that you can get.
Right. Interesting. Now, you also are a proponent of raw egg.
Correct.
Once again, are we talking about free-range, raw eggs? Are we talking about
pastured eggs is what they call
pastured
them.
eggs, as opposed
to free-range doesn't mean a thing. It means they're allowed to run around in a room that may be 10 by 10 on concrete floor, and there's not an opening to the outdoors at all. And they can still call that free-range.
Okay. So, but I can take eggs off off the shelf at the grocery store and use those.
Well, in my experiments, I've seen people get dental infections, gum infections, more pain if you take them right out of the supermarket.
Okay.
They're using a lot of antibiotics when they feed chickens because they treat them so badly. They put them in a cage where they can't move.
Right.
The cage is the size of their body or even smaller, so they're just, they can't peck, they can't scratch themselves, they can't do anything.
Yeah, it's terrible. We're going into a break here. I want to come back. I want to continue on about raw eggs because this is also something that's very intriguing to me. We're talking today with Dr. Aajonus Vonderplanitz about native nutrition, raw food eating, and we're talking about raw meat. We're going to talk about raw chicken in a little while, too, so stay tuned. You're listening to Superhuman Radio.
Ultima is the best pre-workout supplement ever created, bar none. Formulated by doctors and clinical professionals, Ultima contains 3 patented forms of creatine and only pharmaceutical-grade ingredients. No proprietary blends, fairy dust, or herbal extracts. Ultima is designed to perform. Every ingredient is the single best in its class. You won't find counterproductive ingredients in Ultima either. It's as much about what's in Ultima as what's not. And our effervescent patented citrus dew flavor will make you look forward to your pre-workout drink. Learn more about Ultima by visiting OmegaSportsSupplements.com today. That's OmegaSportsSupplements.com.
Out on the edge of fitness and endurance, there's a line. It's where winners and losers are defined. That's the narrow place where Gamma O gives the serious competitor the extra step, that extra kick nobody knew was there. Gamma O raises your testosterone level naturally and legally. So before you step up to the line one more time, be prepared to bring it with Gamma O, the all-natural testosterone booster. Double your testosterone in 30 days or double your money back. Available now at GammaO.com. That's GAMMAO.com.
There's an amazing new website in town. It's ProBodybuilding.com. Every month, amateurs win over $25,000 in 5 unique competitions. And it's free. Check out their video chat room with experts, articles, and interviews, contest coverage, and photos. Join in their forums, and you'll find everything you need at ProBodybuilding.com. ProBodybuilding.com, where pro is just a state of mind.
When your research project requires protein recombinant peptides, think of PurePeptides.com. PurePeptides.com operates a state-of-the-art recombinant laboratory with the highest standards of production right here inside the United States. A complete line of stock products like IGF-1 long R3, growth hormone-releasing peptides, growth hormone-releasing hormone CJC1295, and mechanogrowth factors are readily available for the best prices at PurePeptides.com. If you don't see what you need, PurePeptides.com welcomes custom order requests. A team of scientists is ready to serve you. Don't risk the success of your project to questionable foreign sources. Trust PurePeptides.com. Not all compounding pharmacies are created equal. That's why I use Westmoreland Pharmacy and Compounding for all my hormone replacement and pharmacy needs. At Westmoreland, you'll get great service and the best prices. Give them a try. Just call 866-944-6505 today and ask one of their attendants for a price comparison before you have your next prescription filled. You'll be pleasantly surprised. That's 866-944-6505. And be sure to let them know that Carl from Superhuman Radio sent you. Call 866-944-6505. Elevating growth hormone to youthful levels has a myriad of benefits, but getting a prescription is difficult and many people don't like to inject on a daily basis. Now there's Secretropin. Secretropin is a sublingual spray that really works. It raised my natural growth hormone levels by 53% in a little over 5 weeks, and it will work for you too. Secretropin is so effective that it's only available through a physician. Learn how you can get Secretropin by visiting raisemygh.com today. That's raisemygh.com.
Your radio just got ripped. It's Superhuman Radio.
Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. We're talking today with Dr. Aajonus Vonderplanitz about raw food eating, specifically raw animal proteins. So, Dr. Vonderplanitz, if you're going to eat raw eggs, it's probably best to get you said they're called pastured or pasture-raised.
Eggs are the best.
Okay. I also noticed that store-bought eggs, the shells are getting increasingly thinner and thinner. I don't know if that's because of calcium depletion in the chickens that are producing them, but when I get eggs from the family farm, a farm that I get eggs from periodically, brown and all different colored eggs actually, the shells are much thicker, and I don't know if that has anything.
Well, that varies. That depends upon the feed. If you put a lot of minerals in the feed, the shells will get thicker.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And that depends upon, the market and who's growing the chickens. And they all differ. I have, some organically fed chickens, which eat, raw meat and bugs and everything else, just like they do out in the fields, because chickens are scavengers.
Right.
And some of the eggs will be very thick, and some of them will be, thinner, not real thin.
Right. Okay.
But thinner.
Okay.
But the thing is about eggs is they digest in 16 to 23 minutes. It's the only food that digests that quickly. It takes milk, raw milk, about 6 hours to digest, in not in totality, but all of the balanced agreement of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates.
Gotcha.
Whereas in an egg, it happens in about 23 minutes.
Now, raw egg is supposed to contain something called aversion, which is supposedly blocks the uptake of certain B vitamins.
That happens in a laboratory test. It doesn't happen in animals.
Okay.
I eat up to 50 eggs a day sometimes. I don't have time to stop and eat the meat, or I don't have, milk at a particular time, or I'm going through a certain kind of detoxification. Then the eggs are so quickly digested, they're digested within the first 3 to 5 inches of the small intestines.
Wow.
So the intestinal tract gets quite a break from having to digest for, as long as I eat eggs.
Wow.
So sometimes I've eaten 50 eggs a day and nothing else and get vitally healthy. As I said in my book, The Recipe for Living Without Disease, there was a doctor from Maryland who called me and said, I've got an emphysemic patient who was diagnosed 7 years ago. She'd mainly been on machines for the past 2 years, and this was on a Thursday night. She said, she's going to die this weekend. And I said, well, you're calling me a little late, aren't you? She says, well, the medical profession, the law is that a person has to be on the medical, not remedies, because they're certainly not remedies, but therapies, the medical therapies, for 10 years before an MD can suggest anything else.
Gotcha.
So we are basically, by law, condemned to the medical profession for 10 years. So anyway, I said, well, the best thing you can do is, you can get her 10 to 15 dozen raw eggs and put them at her bed table and ask her to eat one as often as she can. So I get a call on Monday morning of this raspy-voiced woman that says, well, I'm out of bed now. What else can I eat? And I said, well, who are you? And she explained that she was the woman that her doctor had called about.
She was supposed to die over the weekend.
Yeah, and she was off of the machines. She was out of bed and functioning.
Wow.
And I said, well, how many eggs did you eat? She said 66, 33 a day on Saturday and Sunday.
That's amazing.
What else can I do? So that's what a raw egg diet can do for you if you have fairly good eggs.
Okay. Now, I want to touch on chicken, but then I want to get back to beef again. You also eat raw chicken from time to time. And also, I know people that have worked with you that also eat raw foods that are robust and healthy and have not gotten sick from it. So I want people that are listening to the show to understand that I have friends that have worked with Dr. Vonderplanitz and have been eating raw foods for many, many years and actually are healthier now than when they first started. So tell me about raw chicken.
Raw chicken is just like any other meat. It's a scavenger. Of course, it eats decaying tissue and all of that. But, we've come from a place of absolute ignorance. And the people who are highly educated are mainly people that don't get access to, the dirt and the ground. These people are, usually people from very well-to-do families who are white-collar workers. So they're not farmers who go out and become, doctors. So these people believe everything that the medical profession tells them. And the medical profession is run by the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
So all the procedure manuals for doctors are written by the pharmaceutical houses.
Right.
Merck's is about somewhere around 8 inches thick.
Yeah, all the guidance material that they produce.
Right. So, of course, there's always going to be prejudice toward anything raw and natural because they want you to be sick and only, and they'll have patience. If you're eating healthfully and raw, especially raw meats and raw eggs and raw milk, which they're very against, they won't have any customers.
Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing?
Oh, it would be for us, but not for them.
If I wanted to start incorporating raw beef into my diet again, should I start small? Should I start with a little, quarter-pound piece of beef?
Whatever is comfortable for you. I've had people start off eating 7 pounds in 36 hours.
Really?
It's up to you what you're comfortable with.
Does raw beef digest faster than cooked beef?
Well, cooked meat doesn't digest at all unless you eat a raw vegetable with it to help push it through and give it some enzymes. Peristalsis completely is arrested with cooked meat. However, or you could eat fruit with it. But with raw meat, you do not want to eat vegetables or anything else with it unless it's a dairy product like butter, or tomatoes are okay because it's an acidic food. Anything that's acidic and not high in sugar will allow the meat to digest. But if you ate a raw salad, a vegetable salad with your raw meat, they would counter each other.
Interesting. So when you're going to eat raw meat, you should probably just eat it all by itself. That's it.
Well, you could eat it with dairy,
okay.
Raw dairy, or, it depends upon the meat. You could have a little bit of pineapple if you want, or tomato.
Right, because of the papain, the enzyme value there. Okay.
Right.
Interesting. And, so the whole shelf life thing about raw meat, you get raw meat, you keep it in your fridge. As long as you keep it cold, you can eat it raw. And
well, probably some of you have seen the Ripley's Believe It or Not show that's aired more than any other, where I ate meat that was almost a year old, that had fungus of all types on it, parasites of all types, and I ate it, exclusively for about a month and did not get sick at all. So that was on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
It's funny. My father used to tell me about a cheese that they produced in Italy, but when they came from Italy to the United States, they weren't allowed to produce this cheese here after a while.
Because the worms.
Yeah, it had worms in it, and my father used to say it had maggots in it, and they would eat that, and I forget the name of the cheese, but, that was kind of regular.
Oh, it's an incredibly tasting cheese, and it's so alive.
Yeah, no kidding. It's moving on the plate.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So you've actually had that. That's something. All right, let's talk a little bit real briefly about how proteins affect pH, body pH, and what good pHs are and what bad pHs are.
Well, there's a myth that's been created by the allopathic practitioners of today, the so-called modern healers, that says that your pH balance should be on the alkaline side. But no carnivorous animal has a 7. All dogs and cats have about a 5.5. And all humans that I know, including the Maasai, the Samburu, the Fulani tribes that live completely on raw dairy and raw meats, have an acidic of about anywhere from 5.5 to 5.8 acidity level. So that is a marker that they used to use to get people to drink a lot of vegetable juice, and they still do it, and to eat a lot of fresh foods. Because when you cook a food, even when you cook it, if it's an alkaline food, it will change it more to an acidic food.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a ploy, it's an idea that people have used to manipulate their patients.
So what you're saying is it's better to be slightly more acidic.
If you're on a raw diet, definitely. I mean, if you're eating cooked foods, you're on an overly acidic diet, and therefore you need lots of vegetables and fiber to move things through. However, on this diet, you don't need fiber at all.
Now, how can I
have vegetable juices? No vegetable fiber.
How can I ascertain my body pH? What's the best way? I mean, we can get litmus paper at most Walgreens in the United States.
Well, I would say ignore it. Eat properly.
Okay, but let's say let's say you are interested in finding out where you are before you start this diet, so that you can actually track where you end up. Would taking litmus paper and saliva is a natural filtrate of the blood, as is urine, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So would saliva or urine be adequate to check body pH?
Well, each of them might be a degree, a point or two different, but that'll give you the basic range.
Okay. And then after eating, for what period of time would you want to eat and incorporate more raw foods into your diet before you check again to see where your pH is going?
Well, you could do it on a daily basis. It's usually good when your body's going through a whole phase to have it in phase, unless you're doing it at the same time every day and you're eating exactly the same time. But if you want to find out if your body's balancing, it's best to do it sometime in the morning.
Okay, like the morning urine, yeah, right.
Yeah, morning urine, morning saliva. You'll see where you are.
My grandmother used to tell me that if you had acne, if you had a pimple, to use your morning urine and put it on the pimple, it would go away. And actually, my sister and I, we went, ooh, But obviously, the old timers, they had all these things down pat. They knew
they knew that the blood is sterile and it has all the nutrients in it that the blood has.
Right.
It just has some extra ammonia that the kidney generates. So it's even more sterile with the ammonia. Wow. And there's lots of vegetarians in India that drink their urine every day because they don't get enough protein, so they recycle their protein from their urine.
Wow. It's amazing.
Now, on this diet, I used to, when I was a vegetarian, I drank my urine often because I couldn't get enough proteins. I kept just losing weight, and that was definitely helpful. I was able to go from about 98 pounds at 5'8", up to about 118 to 123 pounds just by drinking urine along with the other vegetarian foods that I ate.
We're going to go into our last break here, Dr. Vonderplanitz. When I come back, I want to talk about your touring. You're kind of on a whirlwind tour right now. I want to talk about the different cities that you're going to be in, as well as I want to talk about a couple of your books that you currently have, okay?
Okay.
Stay with us. You're listening to Superhuman Radio. We'll be right back. Back in the day before the ban, 1-testosterone was known as a surefire mass builder. Now you can relive the past with 1T. 1T is a topical pro-steroid cream precursor that converts to 1-testosterone. 1T can help you gain 10 to 15 pounds of lean muscle mass in as little as 4 to 6 weeks. Get some 1T while supplies last at primordialperformance.com. Don't wait for this powerful pro-steroid to be added to the ban list. Visit PRIMORDIAL performance.com. Before anabolic steroids, the father of modern bodybuilding, Vince Gironda, was able to make amazing transformation in strength, definition, and health. How did he do it? Bodybuilding the way it used to be, the way it should be. Go to vincegironda-nsp.com. You'll find important supplements like hormone-free desiccated liver, glandular extracts, the finest milk and egg protein, enzymes, and amino acids that were once the cornerstone to building strength and health. Whether you're a serious athlete or just concerned about your health, visit vincegironda-nsp.com today and open your eyes to a whole new way of looking at old-time bodybuilding. NSP, the old-time bodybuilding company. There's no other performance-enhancing product on the planet, legal or illegal, that can do what the Earth Pulse unit can do. Gains in strength and stamina appear quickly and continue for as long as you use the unit. You've heard what seasoned athletes like Mike Miller, Roseanne Clemente, and Frank Cable think of the unit after using it for just a few weeks. What could it do for you? How many times have you paid your hard-earned money for supplements or products that promise gains in strength and performance, only to see little, if any, results? When's the last time a manufacturer backed up their claims with a money-back guarantee? Never. The Earth Pulse unit comes with an unconditional 90-day money-back guarantee. If it doesn't improve your performance, send it back for a full refund of the product cost. No questions asked. You risk nothing by ordering one today. Don't wait another minute wondering if the Earth Pulse will deliver the results you want. Order a risk-free Earth Pulse unit now by calling 888-211-7888 or visit the website at earthpulsetechnologies.com. Use the coupon code SHR2008 and receive an instant $50 rebate with your order. Call 888-211-7888 or visit earthpulsetechnologies.com. Remember to use the coupon code SHR2008 to get your $50 instant rebate. You won't be disappointed. earthpulsetechnologies.com. A company committed to truth in advertising, to science-driven product development, a company that still believes in accountability to its customers. All-American EFX is that company. With a full line of performance-enhancing aids like Alkaline EFX Pro, muscle pump amplifiers like Nitrix EFX, growth and recovery enhancers like LBA Pro and LG5 Pro, and a fully tested core nutrition series. So if you want the very best in bodybuilding and performance supplements, go to any GNC or visit AAEFX.com today. That's AAEFX.com. All-American EFX. We don't play games, we just help you win them. Not all compounding pharmacies are created equal. That's why I use Westmoreland Pharmacy and Compounding for all my hormone replacement and pharmacy needs. At Westmoreland, you'll get great service and the best prices. Give them a try. Just call 866-944-6505 today and ask one of their attendants for a price comparison before you have your next prescription filled. You'll be pleasantly surprised. That's 866-944-6505. And be sure to let them know that Carl from Superhuman Radio sent you. Call 866-944-6505.
Get stronger. Feel younger. It's Superhuman Radio.
Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. We're talking today with Dr. Aajonus Vonderplanitz about raw food eating. Dr. Vonderplanitz, so you're traveling all over the country right now. Is that pretty much regular for you? Are you always on the road?
I'm on the road 8.5 months of the year.
And I know that my sister saw you in Phoenix, and she was very impressed.
2 weeks ago, yes.
Yeah, and she's a very little frail. She doesn't look anything like me. Actually, when we stand next to each other, she always jokes and goes, "Can you believe this is my baby brother? He got all my food when we were kids."
Because you probably did.
Because I'm 6'1" and 240 pounds, and I'm fairly muscular. And my sister, while she's muscular also, she's about I don't know, maybe 5'4", 5'5". And she weighs about 97 pounds. And she's blonde, and I've got black hair. I mean, it really doesn't look like we're brother and sister, but I'm sure we're both from the same parents. Anyway, but she was very impressed with what you had to say, and I know that other people who have gone to your seminars have really learned a lot. Maybe maybe they don't embrace everything, but there's a lot of what you say that really rings true when it comes to the incorporation of more raw foods into the diet.
And especially raw meats and raw dairy, which is... You know, those are the most feared foods on the planet, especially in the so-called civilized world.
Right.
In the non-civilized world, they're considered the best foods.
Right. And the irony is that if you go to some of these countries where the native indigenous people who are less sophisticated than we are, their elderly tend to be much more robust and much more engaged in life in later years, and our elderly tend to be wheelchair ridden and in institutions.
Absolutely.
So,
and then we're giving the propaganda every day that the science and medicine as advancements are making us, getting rid of disease and making us better every day.
Yeah, they let us live with disease. They don't cure anything. But anyway, where are you going to be next?
I stay here and lobby for raw milk till August 1st, and then I go to the Dayton, Cincinnati area, and then I'll be back in Los Angeles for 2 weeks. I get a 2-week break. Not really, but I'll see patients there. And then I go to Aspen, Colorado.
Okay.
And then Chicago.
Now, my audience is very close. We're based here in Louisville, so you're going to be in Dayton. When are you going to be in Ohio, and where again?
I'm going to be the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Of July?
August.
Oh, August. Okay.
Yes. So if anybody wants to find out my schedule, they can email me at optimal@earthlink.net, or they can go to a website that I've contracted to put it's not my website, but they put only my information, all my information on there, and you can get the schedule, and that's WeWantToLive.com. The 2, instead of TO, it's the numeral 2, so it's WeWantToLive.com.
Okay. And we'll put that on our website, too. If anyone wants the link to it, later today you'll be able to go to the Superhuman Radio website, and you'll find links to WeWantToLive.com. And so you'll be there, and what is your seminars like? You sit down, people, you explain to them your passage and how you got into this?
There's a group of at least 30 people, sometimes up to 100 people, and starting very early, we run about 6 to 8 hour workshop lecture First is an hour free lecture where I introduce myself and everything, what I've learned and how I've learned it. And then in the workshop, it's really, people have to work to, pay attention because it's a lot of information. And I encourage people to, bring a tape recorder and tape it only for personal use, not to share it.
Sure.
And because I've got a contract with my publisher that doesn't allow that. But I will let you record it for personal use. And you just stay awake, and I will give you all the information. What I do is tell you how the human body works, how simple it works when it works the way it should. The medical profession doesn't want you to know how your body works because then you won't run to a doctor every time that something happens. So by the time I finish telling you that, you will understand the body, won't be afraid of it. And then I talk to you about what the body digests, how it's structured. Then I go into what foods are digested in the human digestive tract easily, what foods do in the human body, what most bodies do with particular foods and combinations. And then I go on a diet that I've discovered, a diet plan, a regime of times of the day to eat and what to eat to have the most clarity, strength, and vitality and energy possible.
Now, I know of one athlete, I call him an athlete, Randy Roach, who is a raw food eater and follows your edicts. Do you have any other athletes that have worked with your nutritional plan?
I've got world-class athletes, tennis players, basketball players, gymnasts. I have quite a few gymnasts, and I have quite a few marathon runners and some martial artists.
That have all incorporated raw meats, raw eggs, raw foods in general?
Let me give you an example of an extreme case.
Please.
This man came to me about 51 years old. He was a martial artist competitor, and, of course, he was in that class, that from 40 years old to 55, you're in that class. There's a 15-year break, so you have to compete with all those younger people.
Right.
Or he had to. And so his workout would include 3 jump ropes sessions a week. And on Monday he would do about 2,000 jump ropes, 2,300, I guess it was, 2,600 jump ropes. And he'd have a time to do it in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then on Wednesday, he'd have a routine where he'd do 6,700 jumps. And he'd do that in 45 minutes.
Right.
Then on Saturday or Sunday, his routine would include 12,500 jumps in an hour. So he kept record of his heart rate and, his exhibition qualities and qualifications before he came to me. And when he went on the diet, eating all the raw milk and the raw butter and the raw honey, the unheated honey and all the dairy, his heart rate used to, when he would do the jump ropes, that's pretty, 12,500 in an hour. That's pushing it.
Sure.
You could barely see him.
Right.
It was a blur. And to do that, in an hour still stuns me when I think about it.
Right.
And his heart rate was around 178, I think, 176, 178 at average.
Right.
For a good 10 minutes or so after he finished the exercise. When he started after he been on the diet for about a year, his pulse rate was down to 110 within 90 seconds.
So recovery occurred much faster. That's amazing.
Extremely.
Yeah.
And plus, he went and he did his world champion competition.
Right.
We're talking world class. You're talking about a lot of people who are very good. He came in 5th place in his division, and he used to come in 35th, 40th place.
So clearly the diet made a big difference in his ability to both recover and compete. Correct.
In my marathon runners, one of them decreased his time by 25 minutes, 25 minutes in 2.5 months, and the other reduced his by 40 minutes in about 4 months. These people dream of losing, 2, 3, 5 minutes a year.
Oh, I know. Even a tenth of a minute makes, a big difference to them. We're coming to the end of the show, Dr. Vonderplanitz. I want to go ahead and plug your website again. For those people who want to learn more about primal nutrition, they can go to We Want to Live, WEWANT, the numeral 2, LIVE.com. Dr. Vonderplanitz, I want to thank you very, very much. It's been a privilege to talk to you today.
Thank you, Carl.
And I hope I can have you on the show again to discuss some of these other subject matters that we touched on today.
Okay.
And good luck with raw milk, because I want to be able to walk into my grocery store and buy it.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to Superhuman Radio. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
There were no defects to be found. Snapshot.